have you ever heard or used a sentence like, ain't nobody got time for that? So even though we see that this sentence contains two words that express negation, ain't and nobody, we understand this sentence as expressing only one instance of negation, that nobody has time for that. How does our brain do that? How does our brain understand negation? Can Siri or Alexa understand negation as we humans do? Can we teach them? As a linguist, I am interested in how the meaning of a sentence follows from its parts. In particular, what is the contribution of words that express negation? This may seem like a pointless task because our intuition tells us that negation expresses opposition. So, for instance, for this situation, if we say that the sentence, Olga is reading a book, is true, then we have to say that the sentence, Olga is not reading a book, is false. Opposition. Or, for this other situation in which Olga is discussing with her landlord, if the sentence, Olga will pay the rent, is false, then we have to say that the sentence, Olga will not pay the rent, is true. Easy peasy, right? Negation expresses opposition. However, my research challenges that intuition that negation expresses opposition. I have collected data from many languages across the world, languages as different as German and Korean. I have run experiments with speakers of Spanish and French, and I have found very interesting examples that contradict this intuition. Let me show you just one case. So let's consider this situation. This is a flooded house, right? So there's a lot of water in here. A Spanish speaker can say something like this. Olga no pagará la renta hasta que no haya agua en la casa. Olga won't pay the rent until there is no water in the house. Pay attention to the bracketed parts. There is a negative word in the Spanish, and there is a negative word in English too. Now let's consider the opposite situation. In this case, there is no water in the house. The Spanish speaker will use the same sentence. So they will say, Olga no pagará la renta hasta que no haya agua en la casa. But in this case, the English translation is, Olga won't pay the rent until there is water in the house. If you pay attention to the bracketed parts again, there is a negative word in the Spanish, but there is no negative word in English. So wait a second, Paola. Are you telling us that for two opposite situations, water, no water, Spanish speakers use exactly the same sentence, exactly the same string of words? Yes, that is exactly what I'm saying. So it may sound weird and illogical for an English-speaking person, but it's perfectly natural for a speaker of Spanish. So our intuition that negation expresses opposition is just that, an intuition. It doesn't fully explain how our brains understand negation. So what we have to do right now is to go beyond that intuition and to untie the knot of how we understand negation in human languages. Linguists so far have explained how we understand multiple negation in a single sentence. My theory goes beyond that. So for the non-typical cases of negation, our brain assigns an additional rule, just like assigning an extra ingredient to your favorite recipe. Right? For now, the rules are very specific. For Spanish sentences with until, for French sentences with before, for Korean sentences with since. I am currently working on unifying all those rules. But so far, even though we have a multiple set of rules, results are promising. We can now explain how children acquire negation so effortlessly. We can also improve our favorite automatic translator. And crucially, we can also get rid of the false idea that languages that do not fit our intuition are illogical. Languages are perfect, and speakers are the best example of what our brains are capable of. Let's not forget about that. Thank you.